Then the next one I would like to introduce is Lars Bill, who will be telling us about a very interesting expedition that will be taking place this year, already at the end of April, if I'm not wrong. And it will start from Midgard to Miklagard. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'm really excited to be here because I want to explain to everybody of you that we are not archaeologists, we are not scientists. We are a foundation who wants to try to recreate what was done in the Viking Age. So we are building Viking ships the old-fashioned way, with axes and handheld tools and stuff like that. And then at a certain point we found out, okay, nice, with all these Viking ships, we got 2 of those. Right now we're building the 3rd one, probably should use them for something. So we decided maybe we should do like the Vikings and go for travel and to see the world. And that's what I want to tell you about. I'll see if I can get this to work, because I would like you to see the ship sailing. This is a nice ship. It's Saga Farman. It's a replication of the Knar Kloster. It's a 20-meter ship sailing across from Denmark to from Norway to Denmark this summer as a training travel voyage for what we're going to do this year and the year to come. Okay, so this nice fellow here, that's me. You'll probably notice. And I'm the project manager for this voyage, and also the project manager for the technology on board this Viking ship, because we are in modern times. And modern times requires modern solutions. It's not possible to sail a Viking ship around in Europe anymore without some safety features and stuff like that. So we have to make some adjustments to the Viking ship. Also, I'm a board member of the foundation who built these ships, and also Einar is here as chairman of the board. The foundation itself has been around for quite a while. We started to build the Osberg ship as a replication, and we did it together with scientists in Denmark who could reconstruct from the findings. And we got some drawings, and we found some money, and we started to build. And since then we have been building, as I said, 2 ships, full-sized. We have started on the 3rd one in the center of Tønsberg. And we're also planning to build a handicraft center in the center of Tønsberg. We just got approval from the municipality that the area that we want to use is allowed to build a handicraft center. So we are really trying to show the heritage, our common heritage from the Viking Age in the center of Tønsberg. We also have Viking Festival, 8 years in a row, even under the pandemic. We managed to do, I think we were probably the only festival in Norway at the time, but we made it, and that was quite fun. A little distance, but we could do it. And we are now, it says 6 here, but we had a board meeting yesterday, and we were actually 9. Employees, and we are more than 200 volunteers building, showing Viking handicraft. It could be textile work, it could be boat building, it could be all sorts of jewelries and stuff like that. And of course we're sailing, and we're quite a lot of us sailing these Viking ships. So why do we want to do this? Well, the Vikings traveled throughout Europe, and they did it in good and bad ways. Of course, they did trading. They made relationships all over Europe. They mixed. We heard about the DNA, so they probably mixed quite a lot. We'll find Viking DNA all over Europe, I guess. I'm not a scientist. I'm just thinking that might be possible. And they made friendship, and they made trade routes and stuff like that. And we are actually trying to not rediscover, because we're not scientists, but we would like to travel those routes and try to rediscover these, relationships with foreign people, countries along the route, and try to share our common heritage from the Viking Age. There are bits and pieces of Vikings all over. There are bits and pieces of the culture. There are bits and pieces that we brought back to the Nordics, and we would like to rediscover that. So we are following the Vikings. So we started with a dream, doing the eastern route to Miklagard. That was a dream when we built the ship, and we had it for many years. And then trouble came up. It's not realistic today to go the eastern route, and hasn't been for a while, unfortunately. So we have found our own way. It might not be the original way for the Vikings to go to Miklagard, but at least it's a way, and I'm quite sure that if the Vikings had the opportunity, they would use the same route. It's shorter. So we have decided that we want to go from Tønsberg, the oldest city in Norway, to Miklagard, Istanbul, and we want to do it straight through Europe. And it's possible these years because it's built a channel system between the Rhine and Danube, makes it possible to go across in the middle. It's more or less the third stage on the map here on the red route that brings us over to Danube and bring us down to Istanbul. So, and we are leaving quite soon, 29th of April, 2 o'clock. I got the timing yesterday, because we're going to have a small, we're going to do some stuff, maybe some music and some speeches, and then we'll leave, and we'll come back in 3 years' time. Because when we get to Istanbul, we will stay there for the winter. We got really good relations to the municipality and the governor of Istanbul, and we have been promised to stay at the shipyard that the municipality has in Istanbul, and we stay there for the winter. And then we'll start again next spring, 2024, and we'll do the Mediterranean. Sailing all the Mediterranean. So next summer we'll be jumping around the islands in the Greek area. That will be with a Viking ship. That's quite epic. So this is the route, and this is what we're planning. It's quite complicated to do what we are trying to do here, I have to say. So in order to actually take a Viking ship, one thing is to build it, another thing is to equip it, and then get down there. It's quite a lot of trouble. It's all sorts of things that the Viking didn't have to be concerned about. Certificates and training and safety and mines in the Black Sea, and all sorts of roles, and all AIS, ATIS, and you name all those stuff that didn't exist in the Viking Age. We have to comply with a lot of rules and regulations, and these days we're trying to be EU certified Viking ship. It's not that easy, because these regulations are not made for Viking ships, and they're not made for open ships. So they say, okay, how thick is your steel in the hull? So we have no steel. We have iron nails and we have wood. So okay, that doesn't work. Then we have to do another approach and say, how long are you? Yeah, we are this and this long, but it's bended, and that's hard to measure. So it's really, really hard to apply to these rules. But we will get there eventually. We still have a few weeks left before we leave. So this is what we're struggling with, just to mention some. So the EU certification on the inland waterways is really complicated, but I think we'll do it. But we are going to build watertight compartments in the ship. The Vikings didn't have that. They didn't think about, okay, if I'm crashing, would it be nice to have a watertight compartment so I will stay afloat? But we have to build that. So we'll make small changes to the ship. Nothing we can't pull out again, because we want to have a Viking ship. But we have to do it for the certification. We need all sorts of radios and all sorts of measuring systems and stuff like that. But we'll fix that. Then we need some captains who can actually sail the ship, and not just sail our ship, but sail our ship in the inland waterways of Europe. That's difficult, I have to say. They didn't have that kind of problems in the Viking Age. It just set sail and went for it. But now you need certifications, you need to prove that you've been sailing in the Rhine for a year at least, and you need to have special training courses and all sorts of things. That's a little tricky for us, but we are working on it. Then we are an electrical Viking ship. We're not just a Viking ship, we're actually the world's most modern Viking ship, with electrical propulsion systems, with joystick controlling. It's really, really cool. And you can't see it on the big. That's the point here. We don't want to show all the technology. We want to be a Viking ship, but we have to comply with modern rules and requirements. An engine is one of them. And we said, okay, if you're going to build a Viking ship, we cannot have a diesel engine, making all that noise and the smoke coming up all the places. So of course we need the modern one with electrical engines. So we came up with a partnership with a local company who built boat thrusters, and they created our solution and have now started a company selling our solution to the entire Europe. So we'll actually meet up with some of these agents for this company during our trip, and they can actually bring customers to see the solution on a Viking ship. That's pretty cool. But also we need, to do this, we need 107 weeks worth of volunteers. You need quite a lot of volunteers who wants to spend their summer sleeping on a deck on a Viking ship somewhere with a toilet that is not common standard, so to say. And the kitchen is, it works. You'll get food, but it's not like gourmet food at all. And you're using your holiday and you have to pay for it. But actually, we got all these people rounded up and they're ready. And for some stages, it's actually full. We don't have any more spare places. So it seems that people want to have this kind of, interesting holiday, doing different stuff than laying on a beach. I like that. We have been working with sponsors, of course, and coordinate with partners along the route. We're doing media. We are working together with a school doing electronic media solutions like websites and promotion, stuff like that, to do all the electronic stuff for us. We got in contact with radios and TV. We have a documentary guy who's going to make a documentary and send it to 96 countries around the world. So lots of stuff going on. It's really, really cool. And we have been training the crew for the last 5 years to do this. As you saw in the video in the beginning, we sailed across big seas to make sure that we can actually cope with the high sea and wind and far away from home and stuff like that. So that's some of the obstacles. The ship itself, I told you, is the most modern Viking ship in the world. And I think that's one of the things that make this voyage possible is actually this propulsion system that we got. We have been a test ship for 5 years, and I promise you it didn't work the first 3 years at all. It was like, okay, we went for 20 nautical miles and then it broke down and we called the technicians and it fixed and we sailed on for another 20 miles and then, you know the drill. But last year it worked perfectly for 7 weeks in a row, and we got small upgrades on the software and stuff like that for this year, so it will work nicely for the next 3 years, fingers crossed. But it's quite impressive. We have a distance electrically on 40 nautical miles. That's about 55 kilometers. So we can do that in a day. And it's pretty awesome. We have 3 tons of batteries on board. And they're not fancy, modern ones for electrical cars. We are using lead-acid batteries. Good old stuff. Because they're not dangerous. And they are really heavy. And what we need is weight. Because we are a sailing ship, and we need the ballast to compensate for the wind in the sail. So instead of stones that the Viking had, we have batteries. 3 tons of those. And we could have more, but we have no more room for it. So we can sail for quite a long time, and we brought ourselves a generator as well, because if we can't get shore electrical power somewhere in Romania or Bulgaria or something, it would be nice to have our own generator to generate some electricity. So, quite a lot of technology on board. So, you want to join? Sounds good, doesn't it? Problem is that it's full. So you can join for next year. So this year's is Saga Asia 2023 with Istanbul as the main target. Next year we'll do the Mediterranean, and we have room for more. So if you want to just follow us and sign up and be a part of this fantastic crew, and follow us on sagafarma.com. From the 28th or 29th of April, we'll be up and running, and you can follow us with live stream, videos, all sorts of things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Lars Bill, and thanks to all of our guests who has joined us this evening, and a special thanks to everyone who has joined us through our live stream from all around the world. We wish everyone a lovely evening, and soon it's time for some entertainment and dinner.